Howdy gamers, let's talk about the runes for Kha'Zix jungle. A lot of what Kha'Zix wants from runes is snowball potential or extra damage that he otherwise wouldn't have. And the best way to get that is through Electrocute um, or Dark Harvest. Dark Harvest is really your greedier option, as with Kha'Zix, basically a lot of what, or the only thing he really can achieve is one-shotting like one target, and then once he's done that, his job is effectively done. If he's killing multiple targets, it's really icing on the cake. Since Kha'Zix isn't inherently like a reset champion, he has to scale up to that. Then you do lose a lot of value in running Dark Harvest early game than you would Electrocute. The option of Conquer is also really fallen off with the change to it. The old Conquer was completely fine and even better on Kha'Zix because of the true damage it offered. The new Conquer is really, really, really bad. With new Conquer, you have to build up the AD offered by it, and then you gain bonus healing once that's all said and done. So like you're really committing a keystone for like effectively a pickaxe and then a little bit of healing. Kha'Zix doesn't need that or want that. He needs to kill the champion that he gets onto, or he's not useful at all. So the only keystone options really that you have are Electrocute and Dark Harvest. Starting off with Electrocute, hitting an enemy champion with 3 separate attacks or abilities within 3 seconds deals bonus adaptive damage. This damage is based off your level, and then for Kha'Zix, your bonus attack damage. And this is only on a 25 to 20 second cooldown, so effectively like 23 seconds at most stages of the game. So you can go for one skirmish, farm a camp, and then go for a gank, and then you can get Electrocute off twice. Then you can farm another camp, then you can go for another gank, get Electrocute off again. So especially with Kha'Zix early game, a lot of what you're looking to do is farm, and then just you gank lanes, but not for kills. You gank lanes just for the damage, and Electrocute adds to that. In Dark Harvest, probably wouldn't, unless the target's low. But usually, you're just looking to chunk the enemy laners so that you put your laners at a better lane state, and then with that, you're winning the game off that. Come, let's say post 6, Electrocute also helps you actually kill a target once you're on them, as it's just adding more damage. The bad side of Electrocute is that it can only be used on one target, so if you waste it, it's really bad. But it's really hard for Kha'Zix to do that compared to other champions, since your Q is just single target. Even if you jump and W, your next auto or Q is going to decide who the Electrocute procs on if you're hitting multiple targets. So it's really, really easy for Kha'Zix to use this rune compared to other assassins, since he can pick and choose. And then again, the benefit of this rune is that you gain extra damage early, and then with that, you have better non-lethal ganks, as they're more impactful through the damage they offer. And then come level 6 to about 9, then you have more significant damage to actually kill someone once you're on them. And then if you get one kill, then the extra longsword that you get from it is going to be giving you way more meaningful damage than Dark Harvest would be. And then that just multiplies the longer and longer the game goes on. If you're playing against any heals or shields, it's really important to have this damage, as it's harder to get the enemy low anyways to proc Dark Harvest. And then if you're getting through the shield, even if you're spinning Electrocute just to like get an enemy carry to 30%, you're probably taking them out of the fight because of that. So there's a huge trade-off with Dark Harvest. I think in a competitive setting in which Kha'Zix doesn't have to interact with a champion until he's about level 14, Dark Harvest might be superior. Especially where you would have your Evolved Leap, and then you could function as a reset champion, especially if the team comp was designed around it. But like in solo queue, there is so much more leniency and so much more utility in having Electrocute that I don't see running Dark Harvest ever being that viable. So with Dark Harvest, you then have the option of either running Sudden Impact or Cheap Shot. Both are completely fine on Kha'Zix, actually. With Sudden Impact, whenever you use your Flash, Ult, or Jump, then you gain bonus lethality and magic penetration. With Cheap Shot, whenever you slow an enemy and then damage them, then you deal bonus true damage. So with Cheap Shot, you'd be adding to like your utility early, but you would be giving up a lot of damage with Sudden Impact, because Sudden Impact really functions as like a minor keystone for Kha'Zix. So in basically every single situation. Like, what are you playing support Kha'Zix for your team or something with cheap shot? But it is an okay option. It's not that bad, especially where your W slows, your auto slows, and then the blue smite can slow, so you can proc it multiple times. But sudden impact, post 6, and scaling into the late game is just way more impactful. And then the lethality offered is going to be giving you more damage on Electrocute and then all other instances of your damage. So, fantastic rune. For the third rune, you're really choosing how you get the bonus attack damage offered from these. With Zombie Ward, you would get it through clearing wards. With Ghost Portal, you would get the bonus attack damage through placing wards. And with the Eyeball Collection, you get the bonus attack damage through getting kills or assist. I think since you're playing an assassin in the jungle, Eyeball Collection is completely fine. Even if you walk over a ward as Kha'Zix, you don't want to stay to clear it. You kind of want to hope the enemy didn't see you sweep it, and then try to make a play from there. Because if you're just hitting the ward, it's just really misguided. You give up your position in exchange for like 1 AD or something, versus getting the kill. And then with Eyeball Collection, if you're already snowballing, then it just makes that more brutal for the enemy. For the fourth runes here, you're choosing a Bounty Hunter rune. The Bounty Hunter runes are based off unique takedowns, so they stack up for each unique champion you kill. So you kill the top laner, it's 1, the jungler, it's 1, the mid laner, it's 1, etc. Your good options are Ravenous Hunter and then Relentless Hunter. I think with Ravenous Hunter, it's completely fine with Kha'Zix, especially if you're looking to 1v9, as with Ravenous Hunter, your abilities heal you for a percentage of damage they deal. And with Kha'Zix, since your abilities can start dealing shit tons of damage, since your Q is on such a low cooldown too, it is pretty viable for him to run this and then actually be able to survive longer fights and then therefore deal more damage. I think it's completely fine. With Relentless Hunter, even though you're an assassin, it's really not so necessary with Kha'Zix, as your ult is going to give you a lot of distance, and then you have a dash as well. So, and then where you're not a laning champion either, you lose a lot of value from Relentless Hunter. Ravenous Hunter is also going to be helping you in your early clear, which is pretty bad for Kha'Zix. So, it's a completely fine rune, and you gain a lot of value with it. For the secondary runes, I think Precision's really high value. You could either have Triumph and Coup de Grace. Triumph giving you 12% restoration on your missing health whenever you get a kill or assist. So that in combination with Ravenous Hunter helps you survive longer in fights. You also get an additional 20 gold, which isn't bad. And then with Coup de Grace, you deal 8% more damage to champions below 40% health. So really synergistic with how your kit's trying to function, where you're just trying to assassinate one champion. Like one of the best runes for Kha'Zix. You could also go Legend Tenacity and Coup de Grace if you're playing into a lot of CC, so champions like Thresh, Leona, Zac, Ornn, shit like that. If you're playing against that and you have Merc Treads and then full lethality, you really make their life pretty bad, as their only retaliation against Kha'Zix is to CC him. But if their CC effectively does nothing, then you nullify their whole purpose, especially Thresh, man. Like, Thresh is your worst enemy as Kha'Zix. So you can look to run that. You can look to run Legend Tenacity over Triumph when the matchup is good for it. And for the rest of the secondary runes, I think you really have to struggle to outweigh Coup de Grace and Triumph, as they're both really, really good on Kha'Zix. You don't overkill champions in a lot of cases with Kha'Zix, so like the damage from Coup de Grace is really good, especially if you're playing into Enchanter champions that can heal and shield their allies, so like finishing them off becomes even more important. So like your other options would be like Nimbus Cloak, Water Walking. Kha'Zix doesn't need the movement speed, and he doesn't need the extra AD in River. He's not a skirmish champion. He's not Lee Sin. He's not Elise. Resolve would be completely useless. And then with Inspiration, you could have something like Free Boots and Cosmic Insight. He doesn't need the CDR early compared to other like farming junglers. And then the Free Boots for him are also lower value, as he's not like a Karthus who benefits from like getting Sorkpin boots earlier from Free Boots. The only boots that Kha'Zix can get are defensive. So like, this is a way more defensive option. You're saving gold on boots, and then you're having more CDR, but then the CDR really doesn't equate to extra ability cast for Kha'Zix, as his W and E are his more significant cooldowns, and having those 5% lower doesn't really equate to much. So this is like a more defensive option, and really doesn't I just don't see it outweighing Coup de Grace and Triumph. So. And then for the adaptive runes, it's always going to be Adaptive Force, and then Armor. This is going to give you 12 AD level 1, and then 6 Armor. These 6 Armor is basically necessary with your first clear. If you're playing into an AP matchup, I don't know if Kha'Zix can run magic resist or not. I suppose if you skipped certain camps, such as raptors and golems, you'd be able to run magic resist on your first clear, and then have the magic resist for the matchup. But where Kha'Zix is a farming jungler anyways, usually you can just circumvent that anyways. So that's the runes for Kha'Zix. I really hope that I got my point across with Dark Harvest. Again, with Conquer, it's just not worth, as the old version of Conquer was really good on Kha'Zix, but the new version is just effectively a pickaxe and a little bit of healing. And that little bit of healing almost doesn't matter, man. Like, it really doesn't matter. You basically get as much healing from the Keystone as you do from one W cast, and then you miss out on so much damage because of it. It's not even funny, man. So that's Kha'Zix runes. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I answer literally all of them. If this video helped you, leaving a like on the video helps me. If you're interested in watching me play or talk about League of Legends, you can check out my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/SawyerNelson. Links in the description, man. Kha'Zix, great champion. Shout out, he made Night Blue's career. What a guy. What a champion, I should say. Great champion. The guy, it's whatever, man.